welcome to the third session of Stonebranch Userverse Online. Today's session is Stonebranch and HONICO, Building an SAP Automation Powerhouse. My name is Lauren Tansini from Stonebranch, and I will be your moderator today. Before we begin, let's cover a few things. This event is designed to be interactive between you and the speaker, so if you have any questions, please add them in the Q&A tab, and we will answer them at the end of the session. If we don't get to your question, we will follow up afterwards. Additionally, in the right-hand corner is the handouts tab with additional resources. And with that said, it's my pleasure to introduce our speakers for today's session. We have Gwen Clay, Chief Product Officer at Stonebranch, Nils Boer, Vice President of Solution Management at Stonebranch, and Lars Hodem, Senior Product Manager at HONICO by Stonebranch. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Gwen, take it away.
Hi, good morning or afternoon, everyone. As you can see, we've recently gone through the process of acquiring HONICO. If we could move to the next slide. And probably a lot of people are curious about why we did it and also what it means for both Stonebranch and HONICO customers of SAP solutions. And we're going to walk through that step by step throughout this session. First off, I would also like to welcome all of the HONICO customers who are joining us for the very first time. And we hope that this session is informative, and we welcome you to the Stonebranch family. So for those of you who are not familiar with Stonebranch, let's start off by introducing us. If you could move forward. Next. Stonebranch is an international software company based out of Atlanta, Georgia, with our European head office in Frankfurt and development centers and offices throughout Europe and the East. We're over 200 employees. We've been in business for over 25 years. 2024 was our 25th anniversary, and we have over 500 enterprise customers. Also, what's most impressive is that over the last 4 years, we've added 140 new enterprise customers, and this doesn't include the new customers to Stonebranch that join us from HONICO. Also, we have a 99% retention rate, 99% plus retention rate on all customers, which is something that we're extremely proud of. We focus on providing excellence in terms of in terms of our solutions and in terms of our support and delivery. Move forward. And you'll see here that both HONICO and Stonebranch are on the Magic Quadrant. HONICO is recognized for its very specific value as a specialty provider of workload automation for SAP environments, and Stonebranch as a service orchestration and automation platform that provides a broad range of automation across everything from mainframe to hybrid cloud IT and also SAP integration as well. It's something we're really proud of. It's just been the last few years that this sub quadrant has been issued by Gartner, and we've made significant progress year over year in our place within this Magic Quadrant, and we are only simply going to continue to move forward from there. So moving forward, let's kind of dig into the why. So both Stonebranch and HONICO, we believe, are a strategic fit. Both of us have decades of expertise in providing workload automation. Batchman is clearly a specialist within the SAP automation area through its very innovative approach of deploying natively within the SAP environment. And this enables customers to have that very similar look and feel to how they automate on a day-to-day basis within their SAP environments. Both of us have had the honor for decades of being an SAP certified partner, and we have continued to evolve with each and every generation of SAP, from SAP R3 through the NetWeaver era, and now into SAP HANA and RISE with SAP and S/4HANA Cloud. And we're also happy to have so many HONICO and Batchman customers joining us. These are amongst just a few of the Batchman customers, which is a wide ecosystem of manufacturing, financial, logistics partners who were very happy to have us have join the Stonebranch family. And if we move forward, let's kind of get into the nuts and bolts of the why did we acquire. So first of all, we are two companies that have very long standing traditions of automating SAP partners. And combined we have comprehensive SAP coverage across R3, S4 HANA, Rise with SAP, SAP BTP, and we'll go over a little bit later the broader range of SAP integrations that we have. Also, if you look at it from a market perspective, we tend to serve very distinct customer segments. While there is certain overlap, Stonebranch typically focuses on the world where there's both SAP and non-SAP automation at scale, and typically is focused within and typically sells within to IT, right, and within the and SAP is one of many landscapes that IT will have. While HONICO, um, while they will sell to IT, they also sell into the business units as well. So if you're an HR business unit or if you're an SAP basis team, the HONICO product is well positioned to serve you. We also have a commonality in the doc presence. While HONICO is headquartered out of Germany and Hamburg, uh, Stonebranch has had a presence in Germany since day one. Uh, some of our very earliest customers were in the DACH region, and one of the original founders of Stonebranch was German speaking, which has led to us having a constant and consistent presence in the DACH region. We're not newcomers, we've been here since the beginning. And then also, really, we also feel that we're really well positioned to continue to support the growth of Batchman, not only from a R&D perspective, but also a support perspective, and also through expanding the reach to other customers that may enjoy the Batchman solution as well. So let's get down to it. So what does this mean if you are a Batchman customer, right? So if you're a Batchman customer, you're probably wondering, okay, so what's going to happen to my product? And what I want you to know is that your investment is safe and secure. We're going to retain the Batchman team. We're going to continue to focus on new releases. We actually generally have a standard cadence that we put our entire portfolio on, where there's a little bit of predictability when new releases come out. And we'll find the right release cadence for Batchman and have a consistent process in place for releasing new releases of Batchman. Second of all, we want to continue to support in both German and English. We realize how sometimes native language support is incredibly important, and we are completely committed to supporting our German customers of Batchman. And existing HONICO support will remain unchanged. Changed. You'll continue to follow the same processes. And if we do make slight changes, maybe it's a different, ticketing system or, different phone number. These things will be, sent out well in advance so everyone can understand that. And also, what's also important is that if you are on Batchman, we want you to feel like you can stay on Batchman. There will be no forced migration. We will provide optional integration to our Universal Automation Center if you want to expand your automation capabilities and have broader SAP and non-SAP functionality or hybrid IT cloud automation uh, within uh, within your environment. So I think this is hopefully news that is good and well received. But we have only positive intentions with this acquisition and for continuing Batchman well into the future. Next, so the question is what does this mean for UAC customers, right? So we have our universal agent for SAP, or what's known colloquially as USAP. We've also been building a broader range of UAC extensions as well that you can access and download via the Stonebranch Integration Hub. And this has enabled us to hook into not only the SAP core technologies it's evolved, but also the broader range of other products that SAP has acquired over the past decade or so. So also UAC will now include an extension into Batchman. So this will enable you to trigger Batchman tasks and workflows within existing UAC workflows itself. And existing UAC customers may also identify that they have pockets within their enterprise where Batchman, being a very lightweight solution that sits within SAP, that is very comfortable for native SAP business users to use. It may also be a good complementary solution as well. And you then may want to be able to tie that back to Universal Automation Center for reporting and governance. Okay, so let's do a UAC overview. So for those of you who are joining us from HONICO who would like a little bit of information on UAC, or those of you who are just joining us for the first time wanting to know more about Stonebranch in general, let's move forward and let's talk about Universal Automation Center. So Universal Automation Center is really a platform of products, a portfolio of products that allow people to seamlessly automate their enterprise. At the core of it is the universal controller and the universal agents. So our universal controller is the big brain. It's the central engine of UAC, and our universal agents go completely across the enterprise, from mainframe to servers to VMs, automated container workloads, whether it's on premise or whether it's in the cloud. On top of that, we also have our universal integration platform. These are lighter weight integrations that allow you to hook into business applications, IT infrastructure solutions, cloud native services, and also a broad range of data automation solutions as well. For self-service users, we have the universal portal. If we go back, we have the universal portal, and then also a large part of our business is in the movement of data, managed file transfer, with our universal data mover gateway, the universal data mover, which is part of our agents, and our UDM protocol, which is ideally suited to move large data files across the enterprise and into the cloud, with a set of configurable security and encryption options available with it. Moving forward, and a lot of what we do at Stonebranch and with UAC is automate SAP functionality. We do that with the UAC SAP connector, and we do this with our integrations as well. As you see, we have a broad range of integrations across a variety of different generations of SAP technology and also other core solutions as well. And then into other SAP applications like Databricks, Cloud Foundry, and Kima, which is SAP's container platform. We're able to automate workloads there as well. So, and here's an example. So, at the heart of what we do with Universal Automation Centers and the controller is we allow you to build very sophisticated workflows with sub workflows that could span dozens, hundreds, or thousands of individual steps within the workflow. And we allow you to connect between different platforms, whether it's in the cloud, whether it's within a Linux system, whether you're connecting to a database, or also automating the variety of SAP workloads that we do. And we enable all of those different steps in a complex business process to a click of the button. And if you look at it, we really provide orchestration across both SAP and non-SAP. So if you look at our SAP environments, we cover all of the different areas of the business, from ERP to CRM to supply chain, and then to BTP as well. And then beyond SAP, we have a large variety of integrations across all of the leading business applications, cloud platforms, IT infrastructure management tools, and cloud native services as well. So we really do provide that hybrid cloud IT automation. And moving forward, and as you can see, with UAC and Batchman connecting into the SAP, the cloud, and third-party systems, we've really enable you to create a single scalable galaxy of automation, just to keep in the spirit of our userverse userverse sessions here. Good. So now I'm going to hand it over to Lars, who's going to let everyone know a little bit more about Batchman. Over to you, Lars.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Hi, for everybody who doesn't know me, I'm Lars Holm, Senior Product Manager of Batchman at former HONICO, now Stonebranch. And yeah, I just wanted to introduce how we are doing, or what's our intention when you're using Batchman. And Batchman, oh, first we have a poll. Sorry. Oh, take it away.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Are you already using an enterprise scheduler for SAP? Yes, no, or not yet. So please submit your answer in the poll. We'll give it just another second. All right, we see votes coming in. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. So it looks like 83% said yes, they are already using an enterprise scheduler for SAP.
No, it's quite a lot already. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, so some of you might then already know this. Like SAP is like this planet where a lot of processes are going on, and you have these different modules. I mean, SAP has its own language, like FI for finance, MM for material management, SD. These are the former modules. Today, it's called order to cash or procure to pay in the S4 environment. But in the end, it's just SAP is all about the business process and the stakeholders and the business teams. And this is also where Batchman is, at the end of the day, is targeted at. So we are targeting the business people, formerly the SAP basis administrators, who were kind of the consultants for the business teams. But nowadays it's moving over to, yeah, well, it's everybody's talking about citizen developmentship nowadays. So most of the business departments, they are taking over doing their own businesses themselves to really react faster on what's going on and monitor faster what's going on. And this is what we do in day-to-day work. So we automate payment runs, we automate MRP runs, cash management, procure to pay, some in transport management, and even more exotic stuff like mass activities, for example, in FICA. And yeah, this is the world where Batchman excels and where we live, actually. Yeah. One second. So just to give you a sample of processes that we automate every day, one is the FI payment runs. Payments runs you have everywhere. You have payments run after payslip generation. For HR, you have payment runs in treasury, in banking, you have payment runs in procure to pay. So, and there's a lot of systems involved in payment runs and a lot of single steps that you have to take. And this is why automation is so important for payment runs, because it's a multi-step process that you have. And oftentimes within payment runs, You also have, for example, external systems, or at least file and data movements that are involved to externals. And this is what we usually also support end to end. Is like, we're not that large of hybrid automation as UAC is, but if it comes to SAP processing, it's what Batchman does is end to end processing within the needs of the business departments. Another very famous process that we do is material requirements planning. If you have a production company, you know that you have this product that you produce, and then you have these planning runs where you have like half-ready products. You have to buy something from suppliers, and then you have these large MRP runs, mostly for different plants all over the world that you have to run. And at the end of the day, they go together, possibly in an ATP run, the available to promise. And this is just checking for, what do I have in stock? What do I need to order? And yeah, these runs are pretty much inside the SAP system. They are very complex, but they need to have the right timing. There's, for example, despite for the FI runs, which are also, or payment runs, which are also very critical, but also very much bound to external systems. Material requirements planning is much more internal. It's much more calculating, but it has to be on point, because, well, when new large orders come in, then you even might want to restart an MRP run for that day or late at night, just to get the right amount of supplier orders done for the next day, and not lose a whole day on your transactions and on your ATP runs, right? Yeah, and then if it gets a little bit more exotic, for example, for energy companies, what we do is mass activity runs. And this is a plethora of activities that we have. There are billing runs, invoicing runs, large printing runs. Mass activities basically is whenever a supplier or provider is having a huge audience and he needs to do everything at once on basically the end of the month. For example, telecommunication companies or energy companies that need to send out the billing. So then you have these large runs that are mostly parallelized. And of course, there's manual checking in between. And there's a lot of like resources that you have to think about. And if some region was not processed correctly, you need to redo it. And these are very specific at very specific points in time of the month, but they have to go through. Otherwise, these companies, they have issues with it. And this is why seeing these processes in large scale is very important for them. Okay. So when you want to, usually our customers, they start out in the ERP and the S4 system. They install a Batchman inside one system, and then they start using the processes like I told, maybe an MRP run, maybe payment, payslip generation. It's like in every module, even plant management, whatever you like. And then the workflows grow to other systems like BW is very common, like business warehouse, attaching business warehouse to load the data back and forth during nights, maybe CRM, maybe CAR nowadays. And then you have a little bit of non-SAP that we attach, like moving the files into the SAP system, doing some REST calls to the gateways, some BTP, SAC calls, and just making everything more end-to-end and fully automated in your SAP system. This is how we work. And so we start little usually, and then we grow into the whole SAP landscape. And we also offer high availability if needed, but nowadays high availability is with cloud-based systems is most likely already in place. And yeah, but this is how we do the full automation. And usually this is a little bit where it also ends. Like we do all the SAP business processes end to end, of course, like calling REST services if needed, doing some scripting, doing some files. But when you go outside, like full Informatica or mainframe, it gets harder and harder for us. And this is what's also for us a strategical fit, because now with UAC and background, we can automate more, or we can offer to just include everything into larger processes using UAC. And how do we get there? So I just wanted to show a little bit how it's done. And for everybody who's interested, of course, there's the possibility of getting a demo. It's just like to show you that this tool is really targeted at the business departments and everybody can use it. As you can see, everything is visible. It's a no-code tool. So when you want to punch in ABAPs here in the top left, basically 80% of what people do in SAP is running ABAP, which is small programs that they are running, or they are running, which we see in the bottom right, is process chains, right? And this is also available in UAC as well. But then we have extra processes, for example, doing payment runs, F150, F110 runs, which is prepared payment runs, or we have this SARA, which is archiving object runs, which is also prepared, mass activities prepared, and then a lot of like smaller monitors, like watching iDocs and watching what's really going on in the system, watching, for example, even the logs in the system, the database logs and the database processing that you can watch to really automate your process more. And yeah, and then when you go outside, as mentioned, we offer also a small agent where you can do like file transfer or command line execution, a little bit REST services. It's not as sophisticated, of course, as UAC, and we don't have, for example, the big CRC checks, but it makes a user end to really make end-to-end processing possible in the first place nowadays. Yeah, and once you're done, most of the time you add conditions. As you can see, this is also all visible, like calendar management on the left side, adding alarms in the middle, or file triggering on the right side. Hopefully you can see it. It's very easy. Even the file triggers that you choose the files to trigger on, everything is UI based and everything is visible. Or running your daily jobs, we see it in the bottom. It's just like clicking, how often should a job run? Like every 10 minutes and from 12 to 2300, and then you click the days. And this should show like everybody can do it. It's like the stakeholders, you can push the work to the stakeholders. And we have larger companies nowadays who rolled this out to a lot of departments. And actually the IT departments are just managing Batchman, but the processes themselves are directly created in Batchman because it's so easy to use and everybody knows it. And yeah, sometimes they don't even know the IT department what is running inside because it's so easy to use that everybody's just creating. Of course, there's segregation of service and everything to break it down. As you can see, also visually inside SAP, making your workflows and very easy to do, just simple lines to differentiate it. Every box here could be a different job type. And yeah, it's just like meant to be that everybody can use it, or everybody, at least the service owners, should be able to use it. Yeah, monitoring the same. You get a list inside SAP doing the summary of how's everything running. This is very prominent even with users who don't use Batchman. Then we have a role model where they can only use the monitoring, for example. So every day is like a lot of these business users, they want to, early in the morning, they just want to see that everything has run properly. And of course, you can send them the report, but they love to see the monitoring themselves, that everything is green. If something is red, they can directly enter the graph here. We see it on the right. And maybe if they're allowed to, they could even do a restart directly right away. So they can just click themselves into the graphics, choose the button for restarting, choose if the restart is kind of different than before, and then they have already, you see it on the right, then there's a new object inside and you have a restarted process, and then it goes on. And this helps very much because you don't have any more ticketing going between the technical guys and the departments. The departments can take over themselves, at least for most of the processes. If it's not a technical issue, but something where the data or maybe material was locked, which is oftentimes the case, then they can just restart themselves, and they don't need tech or tickets to do this. Right. And then we have another poll coming up. Having seen this very, very fast. Yeah.
All right. So the next poll, do you want SAP business users to be able to create their own processes? Yes, we already enable it. Yes, we'd like to. No, or not sure. So let's give everyone another second to take the poll. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. So it's actually pretty close, but 35% said not sure, and then 25% said yes, we would like to.
Yeah, that's actually not unusual because this is also a thing of governance, of course. So this has to be discussed who's the governor of the process and if they really want to take over. Yeah, and then to wrap it up a little bit, when the processes are all done by the business department, then there's a lot of like extras that you can use. It's like you can react on data, like scanning the spools and the text of the SAP system, and then react on it, or combine multiple conditions to automate decision path, like waiting for a file combined with a time trigger, and then combined with if something is inside the spool file, maybe for example log materials. Oftentimes nowadays, the jobs in SAP, they don't fail anymore. So you don't see it, something is going wrong just because the job is aborting. They're not aborting anymore. It's just inside the spool, especially in FI, that you see maybe there is some clearing cases that need to be done first, or maybe some payment channel is locked currently, and the job will still be successful. So you need to use this analytics, these little analytics tools, to make your processes more autonomous and react or mitigate directly, right? And then you can act on data, like loading inputs directly on Excel, which is very famous, especially with mass activities. And yeah, convert and sending spool lists is also a big thing. And yeah, executing batch input sessions, still a big thing, actually. It's very old technology, but recording screens and putting batch inputs, Excel files into SAP, still a thing. And then, of course, as I mentioned, like there's a lot of like small monitors or helper programs that we offer, is like watchers, tracking the DB updates, tracking iDocs. So you can, after you process iDocs, you can directly look into the BD78. It is on the target system. If the iDoc was really processed, it's not just watching the transfer, but also watching the processing of the iDocs itself in the target if it's really important. And looking like on things like SM12 logs. And this is very technical, but it's very helpful, like to really optimize the automation that you have to make it fully autonomous. And then, of course, I said we have a no-code tool, but there is something in SAP called TVAR. If maybe somebody has heard it, these are variables that can directly be used in reports and ABAPs. And we have a whole framework for automating and filling these TVARs from Excel, from Insight, from scanning the logs and spools and automating setting dates. This is very prominent with FI, and this is also where I would like to close with, is like, as you can see, this tool is very close to business people, and only the business guys will make full use of it in the end if they learn what they can do with it, and then it gets very potent in the end. Yeah, and now we will give over to Niels, because we already made an integration so that you can see, once these business owners have made their own processes, you can bring it back to the IT department of UAC using UAC and starting the processes from UAC. Niels, take it away.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay, Lars just explains how SAP users can run their SAP processes with Batchman using their familiar SAP GUI. Now I will show you how you can orchestrate those Batchman configured SAP processes within the Universal Automation Center. What we've done is that we've created a Batchman integration for Universal Automation Center. With this integration, you can now run jobs and nets configured in Batchman directly as part of a USC workflow. For those who are not familiar, nets in Batchman are like workflows in Universal Automation Center. This means existing USC customers can now trigger SAP processes that are configured in Batchman, all from within UAC. Here are a few examples that can be triggered. I mean, Lars mentioned already several of them. ABAP jobs, file transfers, payment runs and copies, dunning runs and copies, business warehouse processes, Sarah archiving runs, and I think also important ISU mass activities, and many more. Batchman users can now combine their existing Batchman jobs and nets with the full enterprise automation capabilities of UAC, creating end-to-end workflows where Batchman processes run alongside cloud data transfers, analytics, and other enterprise tasks, all within a single automation platform. Let me show you a demo on this. What you are seeing here is the data pipeline that processes new incoming sales data, posts it to SAP, and runs the bonus and commission calculations for the sales team. It also triggers analytics processing using Databricks and Azure Synapse pipelines. Let me explain you how it works. It all starts when a salesperson uploads new sales data into the SharePoint folder. That upload automatically triggers our data pipeline in real time and kicks off a number of data transfer. First, the uploaded file is streamed directly from SharePoint to an S3 data lake. This is task here. Second, another data stream is initiated from Azure Data Lake Gen 2 to an S3 bucket. That's this transfer here. Both tasks use our intercloud data transfer task, which supports currently over 60 cloud and application connectors, enabling true real-time cross-cloud streaming. Let me show you just this task here that you have an idea. So this one streams from my SharePoint folder. This is my SharePoint folder into my S3 bucket in the folder sales data, then S3. Here you have the source credentials of OneDrive. In this case, it's SharePoint Professional, and the target is Amazon S3. So like this, it's very simple to transfer data from one cloud provider to another one. In this one, we are transferring from Azure, in this case, to S3. Once the data from SharePoint and Azure is in the S3 data lake, we trigger a job on SAP BTP Cloud Foundry to load the data into SAP. We do this via our new SAP Job Scheduling Service integration. It's also called JSS, which we developed together with the SAP team. So let me show this one. So if I click on it. So what it does, it connects to the SAP Cloud Foundry platform on BTP, and then it runs there this app. It's actually a Java app, which is started called Load Commission Data. And maybe one thing I need to show you, these integrations are always bidirectional. So that means if I don't want to run this job, I can query the job scheduling service from SAP and then get all the existing jobs which are there. Of course, I can search them with stars and so on. In this case, I want to run this load commission one. After the data is loaded, we trigger several Batchman SAP ABAP jobs for the commission bonus calculations inside SAP. These jobs are all configured in Batchman, but started and monitored directly through UAC. When I say monitor, that means UAC collects the SAP job logs and optionally also the SAP spool files, depending if you want them. So we can analyze, report, or even reuse the results to decide the next task in the workflow. Let me click on one of these jobs. So what it does, it connects, in this case, to Batchman via the connection parameters. Then in Batchman, you can say what you want to run. If you want to run a job or if you want to run a complete workflow in Batchman. So in this case, I want to run a Batchman job. This is the job name. I can query the existing jobs in Batchman. In this case, I have only this one job there configured for with this name. Maybe I can show you. Let's do like this with a star. Then you see here the other jobs. So I can search for them with match pattern. So it's also bidirectional communication. So I can query Batchman to get the jobs. Then I can decide if I want to, for example, print the spooled output, because sometimes you don't want to print the spooled output because it's too heavy. Before we trigger the monthly commission run, we edited, in this case, an approval task, a feature introduced in Universal Automation Center 7.9. I think you will hear about it a lot, but this is our new approval task. This new task allows to define rules who can approve a certain step. So this is something very nice and new. So you can say in this case that this approval task can only be approved by these people, Ravi, Dari, Niels, and another Niels. You can also give more sophisticated rules, like, for example, say, all of them have to approve, or only one of them has to approve. Or you can even work with ORs if you put the advanced in here. So in this case, all these people can approve. The approval itself can then be done from the Universal Automation Center, but also within the new Stonebranch Universal Portal. So that's also nice. You can also do it then in a self-service approach. Okay. Finally, after the approval is done, then we run another Batchman run, which is a monthly run. This one will not run because we're using our so-called run criteria. That means this one runs only at the end of the month. So if you look at this one, it says only run on the last business day of the month. Like this, you can put in here Batchman task, which should only run in certain scenarios. After this one, let's say, is skipped because we will not run it today because not last at once, then we go to the BTP platform, or in this case, first we call the data services cloud integration job to load the stuff into the area of the BTP platform for IBP, and then we start the IBP job finally as a last job in here. The IBP job has been highly improved compared to the older version. Due to one of our customer requests. So we have a large customer in Germany that asked us, can you also put parameters for IBP jobs? Because parameters can be very complex in IBP because each step can have their own parameters. So what you can do is we have a new action in the task that says get the parameters. So it will get the parameters of the IBP job. And then you can paste the parameters into this field here called job parameter input. So either as a script, you can put the parameters in, or as a large text field in YAML format. So like this, you can now run your templates, your BTP templates using parameters. The last step we are doing in this job, in this workflow, is that we do some analytics calculation. There we have another manual approval using our Slack approval task. Then we run some Databricks jobs. I include the Databricks jobs because SAP now heavily promotes their partnership with Databricks. And of course, we can run Databricks jobs. And I'm running also a Synapse pipeline that does some machine learning calculations. Finally, I do a Power BI refresh. Okay, let's not talk too much. Let's start the workflow. So the first thing is that I need to put into my SharePoint folder. This is my SharePoint folder. I put the new seller data. So I upload the file with the sales data. So with the seller data from October. So now it's uploaded. Let's wait a bit. There it is. And now that you see the monitor has already identified that the sales data has been uploaded to SharePoint and the jobs are running. You see the file transfer from Azure Data Lake to S3 is already done. So if I can retrieve the output and it says copied sales data Azure. So it's already in my S3 data lake. The stream from SharePoint to S3 takes a bit longer because it goes basically from Microsoft to Amazon. So this has also been done. Everything is, of course, in this output. You can verify the whole approach. Then you see there's a request to kick off the analytics. But there's also here you see in the Cloud Foundry job was already run. So let's have a look at the output. And you see here. What I wanted to show you is that when you run Cloud Foundry jobs, we are using the event interface. So each event that happens on Cloud Foundry, you can review here. So it went from schedule the job to triggered and now finally to success. And of course, also the output of the job is visible. What you see here is that 2 jobs are running while 2 are already success. This is what we call the virtual resources. So we can control in Universal Controller the number of parallel jobs we run on Batchman. So in this case, I configured that only 2 jobs should run in Batchman in parallel. So this is why the other 2s have been waiting. Maybe you saw it on the screen that they were in waiting process. Let's look at one of these tasks, for example. So if I look at the output. So then you have here the SAP job log. So you see which program was started, which ABAP was run, which variant. And then you have here also the job log. So this is a spool file. So you see that the commission calculating started. Then in the next job, the bonus calculation was started. So it's a multi-step job in this case. And you see here also the steps. So everything is completely visible from Universal Automation Center. Now you see it waits for the approval. So let me log into the Universal portal. Actually, this is now the Universal portal. So I'm logged in with my user. So this runs perfect also on any mobile device and also on the laptop. And you see if I change it, you see it's very responsive, the design. So it runs basically on any device. And you see there's already a notification coming on. So if I click on this, then it says, approve commission process. So I already got the notification that I have to approve the commission process. Before I approve this, maybe I have a quick look on the task. So I filter for my userverse webinar or the task with a quick filter here. And let's have a look at the last process, commission run daily 4, if this was successful. So I can say retrieve the output. And this looks good. So you see the spool file is there and everything looks fine. So let me approve this job. So I go back to my thing. So I can say, yes, approve the commission process. And then I say approve, confirm. If I now back to my workflow, then you see it has been approved. So like this, you can very nicely now approve any kind of processes. You can also link it to a web address if this is what you want, maybe for Teams approval or something like this. Now you see that this one has been skipped because today is not the month's end. You can also hide this if you want, hide the skipped ones. The data services cloud integration process is running, and afterwards you will see the BTP running the IBP. There's another one which is waiting. So this is approval via Slack. So just to show that we have also these other approval things. Also on the Teams one, we are updating it now for the latest Microsoft workflow solution. So let me approve this. This is my Slack. Normally I do show this, of course, from the mobile, but here it's better to show it directly from the Slack or from the computer. So if I say approve, then you see the sales process gets approved. And this is immediately because this is webhook based. Now you see that the Databricks job are running. There's an apps pipeline. When I look at the Databricks jobs, maybe I want to show it you quickly because it's also heavily used by customers. It has been improved recently. So it supports now a new action. You see it supports already a lot of stuff. So you can do all kinds of create cluster, delete cluster, run jobs, and so on. But it has now a new thing, which is called repair a job. This new functionality allows you to restart a Databricks pipeline from the point of failure. So this was introduced recently. It's not yet uploaded to the integration hub, but it will come soon. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you in regards to this new integration for Batchman. Let me summarize what you've seen. The new Batchman task allows you to trigger and monitor Batchman jobs and nets directly from Universal Automation Center. By adding the Batchman task to a UAC workflow, Batchman customers can now build end-to-end automation pipelines that combines their SAP Batchman jobs with any of the 100+ UAC integrations, including SAP BTP and cloud integrations like IBP template, S/4HANA templates, Cloud Foundry applications, SAP Timer jobs, and cloud integration for data services. In short, UAC and Batchman together enable seamless orchestration across SAP, non-SAP, and cloud ecosystems, all within a single unified automation platform. And with this statement, I'd like to hand over to our Chief Product Officer, Gwyn again. Gwyn, let's go for you for the summary.
Okay, great. So thanks very much, Lars and Nils, for all of the information. And also, I love the partnership that you two worked on in getting this integration completed so quickly with the extensions team and the Batchman development team as well. I think it was a great start to kick off the journey of Batchman here and at Stonebranch. Okay, so we've walked through kind of our rationale. We've walked through some information on UAC, on Batchman. We've gone through the integration. So we'll wrap this up pretty quickly, and then we'll move over to the Q&A section. So just a few things to summarize here that I think are important takeaways for everyone. If we can just move forward. So for the Batchman customers, right, for the HONICO customers, we want to just ensure you that your investment is safe and secure. We're not going to force you to switch your product. If you want to run on Batchman, you can stay on Batchman, and we will continue to provide the high level of support that you have in the languages that you are used to receiving support in. In terms of the future together, we still have quite a bit of roadmap work that we're going to be doing as a team on how we plan to extend our SAP automation capabilities even further into the future and the near future, right? Batchman and UAC are now integrated, right? We plan on trying to provide the best of both worlds with Batchman and the team behind it with their deep expertise within SAP, partnering with our broad range of automation expertise across the entire hybrid IT enterprise. And, really where we're moving to in the future is a powerful, unified SAP automation platform, designed for scalability, flexibility, and innovation. So with that being said, I think it's time to turn it over with some questions. I think we've got some pretty good questions here, and hopefully everyone who's on the line will be able to answer them to your satisfaction. So over to you, Lauren.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started with questions. All right. First question, will customers still be able to buy new Batchman licenses after it's now part of Stonebranch?
I'll take that one. Yes, absolutely. We will be more than happy to sell you Batchman licenses.
Perfect. Is Batchman also embedded in the actual S4 system and screens in RISE like it is with ECC, or is it more of a connector?
No, I can take that one. Batchman is a fully equivalent add-on and like it was in ECC. So it's like you get the same Batchman and S4 RISE. Is you get a full-blown automation if you want with all the UI, everything is inside. So for us, virtually, it's no difference from ECC.
Great. Where are the differences to the SAP integration of UAC? Will this be integrated into UAC GUI?
You want to tackle that one, Nils?
Yeah, I can take this one. Yeah, so when you have Universal Automation Center, then we basically start the different ABAPs, and we can also start a business warehouse process chain. But when it comes to processes like payment processing, Dunnings processing, also mass activities, then we can leverage what the process is already configured in Batchman. So and we can start them now with this new task directly from the controller.
Great. Regarding ongoing development of Batchman product, is it planned to support BTP scheduled jobs, for example, for monitoring?
We are already on it. So it's not done yet, but of course, Batchman will be the closed SAP world. We will support further with Batchman as well, right? And BTP is part of the SAP world. It's like planned is that the end possibly is where SAP ends, and then UEC will always take over. And that's the current plan. But we will work on that.
Great. Is Batchman a separate application or integrated into UAC?
I think I'll take this one. The answer is it's both. It's a separate application. It's been, running as an independent workload automation solution for SAP within SAP for decades. And now also we've integrated it into UAC so that you can call into Batchman and execute SAP jobs and SAP and Batchman nets from UAC connecting to Batchman.
Great. All right. With a focus on SAP job scheduling, what is the functional difference between Stonebranch and Batchman? Is there a general recommendation as to which of the two tools should be chosen when introducing a new SAP job scheduling tool?
Well, for at least for our part, for Batchman, we would say we were always more on the business side level, right? Not so much on the OS and integration level. And so if you have a very broad spectrum of hybrid automation, probably UAC is the way to go, and then giving the SAP part, depending on how complex it to Batchman or even not. And if it's very much, if you're like 100% SAP or 90% SAP, and the business owners or stakeholders are using or should implement processes themselves, then Batchman would be a very good option. And the truth is somewhere in between, I guess, in the future, right? So
we'd love to have those discussions, though.
Yeah.
All right. Is your SAP solution also RISE certified?
Maybe I can take this one. Yeah, so that's the first thing we were asking also when we talked to HONICO. So both are RISE certified. So HONICO's Batchman is RISE certified, and also the Universal Automation Center I think we were one of the last who did the RISE certification, so it lasts pretty long. And yes, both are RISE certified. And we are also have a deep, let's say, in product management, that we are supporting all these new products which we need to run on RISE.
Okay. What does a HONICO customer need in order to use the platform?
Since it's
So
Thomas, I think this is targeted at UAC, not at as Batchman. He's a Batchman customer. So maybe Gwyn can take it, or what do you need to run UAC?
So UAC can either run as a SaaS application, or it can run on-premise on like a Linux or Windows machine. It has a few co-requisites like a Tomcat server and a relational database. And then you would also probably want to download the extension that would connect UAC to Batchman. And then you'd be able to also take advantage of the broad range of automation possibilities within UAC.
Okay. Can I also trigger file transfers configured in Batchman from UAC?
Yeah, so that's actually one of the use cases I've already configured in my demo system, because a file transfer in Batchman is like a standard job. So I can start this job as any ABAP job. I can start also a file transfer. So yes, you can reuse all the file transfers configured in Batchman. And even if you have configured like a REST API call, you can run it from the universal controller.
Okay. As a Batchman customer, is the licensing model for Batchman customers ready when we would like to go to Stonebranch UAC?
Yeah, why don't I take this? I think the answer is yes, and that we would be more than happy to put you in touch with the sales team to walk through possible scenarios for you as well, depending on your usage and configuration of your environment.
All right. Will Batchman be licensed separately, or will it be part of the UAC license?
Right now, Batchman is licensed as a separate product. And for those customers who only want to use Batchman, we will continue to license it as a separate product. For those customers who may want to use both UAC and Batchman together, if they're already a customer of both solutions, we can look at harmonizing the license agreement. If they're a customer of one or the other, we'd figure out a sensible way to add UAC or Batchman licensing that works for everybody.
Great. Well, that's all the time we have for questions. So if we didn't get to your question, we will follow up with you afterwards. Thank you, Gwen, Nils, and Lars, for sharing the future of Stonebranch and HONICO and how we're building an SAP Powerhouse. I want to thank all of you for joining today. Later today, you'll receive an email that contains a link to the recording of today's session where you can rewatch or share with your colleagues. Don't forget to register for our next session, which is on what's new in UAC 7.9, updates in UAC Universal Portal, UDMG integrations, and more. This will take place on Thursday, October 23rd. Thank you again for joining us, and we will see you at our next session.